I've got 6 o'clock, and I want to welcome everyone to the January 22nd Historic Preservation Commission. Thank you for being here. Paul Schlechter, thanks for coming, our City Council representative and liaison. Matthew Boyle is our City Attorney. I did have a question for you, PW. I'll come back to ask momentarily on how many events did we hold in the month of December for the capital, Christmas capital of Texas. Monica Hoteling is our P&Z liaison, and I want to call this meeting to order. But before we do that, I want to get the final event total.
Okay, well, the total number of events were more than 1,400. More than 1,400.
1,400 that our volunteers, our city staff, including Casey and David putting on, I'm sure PW was at 1,399 of them, so a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes on this.
And to Mr. Chairman, and according to Newsweek magazine, Grapevine is the top Christmas town in the USA.
That is tremendous. Congratulations. That is a wonderful thing. All right.
Thousands, thank you.
We'll bring this down to item number 2 on the agenda for tonight. Any person who is not scheduled on the agenda may address the Historic Preservation Commission under citizen comments or any other agenda item by completing a citizen appearance request form with the staff. A member of the public may address the Historic Preservation Commission regarding an item on the agenda either before or during the Commission's consideration of that item, upon being recognized by the chairman or the consent of the commission. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the commission is restricted in discussing or taking action during citizen comments. Casey, anybody?
No.
Okay, thank you. Takes us down to item number 3 on the agenda, which is our work session. Mr. Klempen, if you'll present the staff-approved CAs.
Okay, I guess with all those activities in the township and everything, people were having a good time and they were not turning in CAs. So we only have one for this month, which is very unusual for us. But this is the little coffee shop that Brew and Batter has been sold to a new individual who came from out of state. And he has a vision for what he'd like to do there, and he's changing the name of the place to Clue Coffee. And part of the background on that is that I think it was Samuel Clue brought, and the Clipper ships brought the coffee to the Americas or something.
Okay.
So he has a story he's going to tell, and he's excited about that, and he intends to do social media about it, and so on and so forth. So I visited with him. So the sign that he requested is in here, just refacing the signs that are out there on the existing building, basically. So that's all that's all we have this month for the
Perfect.
CA.
Thank you, David. Takes us down to item number 4, and that is our public hearing. A member of the public may address the Historic Preservation Commission regarding an item on this agenda during the Commission's consideration upon being recognized by the chairman or the consent of the commission. Upon being recognized, please come forward to the podium microphone where David is and state your name and address before speaking. And again, in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the commission is restricted in discussing or taking actions during your comments. I now declare the public hearing open, and we'll begin with our first case, CA 25-02.
Okay, this is for the Bull Lion Winery, which is a retail tenant, and they will be moving from their existing location in the former Statham filling station on the corner over into this building, which is directly next door, but the building now faces West College Street. So background on this is that this CA was submitted by the owner of the winery, Chuck Tordiglione, on January 3rd. This is for the final approval of how the elevations of the building will look. This property is located within the College Street Residential Historic District, and it is landmarked. The building was constructed in 1975 by Grapevine businessman Bill Guest, and it was a part of the Guest Furniture Store. It's a series of structures that are all tied together. Most of that has now been converted into the other retail spaces along Main Street, but that was a furniture store, glass fronts and such, and it's been renovated. At the December 17th, 2024 City Council meeting, conditional use 2454 was approved to relocate the Bull Lion Winery, which is currently located at 530 South Main Street, into this suite number 318 at this property on the east end of the building. And this approval was given with the condition that within 90 days, the applicant would submit a certificate of appropriateness for approval to the Historic Preservation Commission for the proposed changes to the existing facade. He also is required under his conditions of his conditional use to provide a legally enforceable parking agreement. He's been working with Blag Tire, which is across the street, and which is also to be provided and approved by the city attorney. And then the last condition of his approval was that all the seating would be located inside the building. And an approved CA is required, approved CA from us is required for him to obtain his building permit. So here's a plan of the building. The smaller portion of the grade-in area that faces College Street, you can see that it's marked there with the tenant space. This is the facade of the building as it appears currently. It's kind of an interesting facade because it's sort of like a concrete material, and then it has a concrete canopy that's very 1960s era look and really kind of interesting, but it's not like our other buildings in the historic area, but it's a landmark building. So when we work with this, it needs to be working in the style of this building. So it's not really being remodeled, but it's being retained and enhanced. So here's how close-up views of it and how it was looking. It has these indentations, these slots in the facade, the vertical and horizontal, that are colored in with a dark charcoal gray color like black. So the new proposal, if you look on this, is in a color scheme that would fit better with our historic township area. And they came up with this. You can see the upper view, and then you can see down on the bottom of this how it looks now. So what we're basically doing is adding metal awnings over each window, leaving, the concrete canopy, which is a distinctive looking feature, over the entrance, and putting doors in black color, so the trim would be black. Have a little closer up view here. Then his existing logo sign is that sort of a T looking shape that has, that's his brand, in other words. That would be relocated from his building and just placed next to the door entryway here. And then the bull lion is a metal sign that's an existing thing he has, but he's also kind of reworking it. The other changes to the building are to paint the trim black. There's not very much trim there. And install gooseneck lights. So this, excuse me just a moment, this proposal does follow the design guidelines for the College Street Residential Historic District, and the changes are, as I just mentioned, what would be placed there. But then in addition to this, an idea was presented at council by one of the council members, making a suggestion, well, what about putting a mural on the building? So this is a contemporary style mural that's fitting the design of the building, of the 1960s era building. So what it is, originally when he brought it forward, was a very bright, multicolored image with the grapes and the wine and various things. So after some conversation, we came up with a suggestion to make it more in sepia tones. So this is the sepia tone version, which I've reviewed this with PW and other folks and the applicant himself, and this is something that seems to be quite appropriate this way. Now, reason for the mural is that it was suggested by the council member was that something to draw the eye, because this building, you're driving past it, you're used to just going by and never looking at it, even if it gets a different color or something. So it's going to draw the eye. And I recognize that if he has a lot of customers that are, for several years, they're used to going to the existing location. If they go there not knowing he's moved, they'll see this and he'll have his sign and you'll really be able to say, oh, well, there it is, it's just next door. So it would be really handy to have a mural like this. So I blew this up a little bigger so you can kind of see how it is, but it would be, you know, sepia tones and kind of gray. But the color on the building is kind of a limestone taupe black color, and that hasn't been finalized at the time of this coming to you, but staff would approve the submission of the paint colors for this. So the main thing we need to get the approval for is the building itself, these changes to the building, which they're very compatible with the building. And then he may not do it may be that he doesn't do the mural immediately, but we'll get to the mural. So might as well go ahead and put the mural on there for your approval, for your consideration, and the reasons why at this point. So that's how the completed thing would look. The other thing is there's part of that condition, there will be no outdoor seating. So he had approached the council about having some outdoor seating, but there's really no way. You'd have to give up the parking spaces that are in front, and parking's at such a premium that there was not really a way to do that. So he needs some help to, you know, kind of really draw attention, but in a way that's compatible with our historic area. So anyway, staff is recommending approval of each of these items under the CA, these items 1 through E that I just mentioned, and then it's just with the condition that he'll come back to staff with the exact details of the awning, in terms of the, you know, what it actually is, and then eventually the mural will come back, the paint color. But we can do that right away. So this approval gives him the ability to move forward, and now he just has to wrap up his parking, and then he can get his occupancy permit. So it's really critical we help him get.
Great, David. Thank you, sir.
Pretty much
Well
it.
done, very thorough. Is the applicant here for
Yes.
presentation? Would you like to make a presentation, or don't have to? Just welcome to.
You can come up, but you have to come up. Yeah, come up to the mic.
He's presented it well.
Yes, sir.
And that mural was actually an idea of one of the city council women. I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
You know, and so they kind of toned it down. The first one was a little too much, but color looked kind of, but this looks good, and we want to do that.
Yes, sir.
It's just finding the right artist, which the one over at Tolbert, Style Reed, I happen to know him.
Okay.
I noticed that the other day going in there, so I know Style, so we'll be looking at that here real soon. Right now, I just want to get it painted.
If you don't mind stating your name and address for the record, please,
Chuck Tortleone, Bowline Ranch and Vineyards.
and your address.
I'm sorry?
Your address.
My address is, well, for that, right, 150 West College Street.
Perfect.
And,
Thanks, sir.
The ranch is out near Stephenville, where we grow all the wine.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Questions?
No, I'm glad to know you grow them because I've enjoyed your hospitality several times. It's a delightful place to go, but very small.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
understand
We're excited.
wanting to expand. I'm sorry.
Ms.
We're
Margaret,
excited.
Yeah.
How big a square footage is that going to be this time?
how big a square footage is the the area you're going to use in the building? You're going to use the whole building?
It's about 1,600 square feet,
Okay.
which it'll
Pretty
seat about
tight.
35. And currently, I can seat 8 or 10 inside. And
Yeah.
it kills us during this cold weather.
Yeah, yeah.
And during the 90-degree weather. That outdoor seating's beautiful. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when, it really works out real well during the Grape Fest and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But boy, when it's hot and cold outside, it kind of messes us up.
Yes, sir.
We're looking forward to the move.
Well, I was just going to say that adding the awnings and just changing the building color in itself, it just, your eyes just drawn to it. It's actually much more striking than the previous building.
I agree.
Yes.
You know, we got turned down the first time. Because, and they talked about, we got turned down because it just wasn't really, there wasn't any paint colors to it. And I went outside immediately after getting turned down, and I called Nandu, the owner of the building, and I said, Nandu, you got to get involved. I knew you needed to do something to this building. And he says, I will. And so we got another shot at it, and my architects came up with this, and they did a great job. Great job. I think it's gonna add to the town. I really do. I think it's gonna help. Instead of looking at that old office building, it's gonna look like part of retail now. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Or
I move we close the public hearing.
thank you, Margaret.
Second?
Second. Is that you, Jana, or Teresa? That was second by Jana. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Public hearing is closed. Any other comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve, CA 2502 with the listed renovations.
Thank you, Margaret. Second by Teresa, also known as Terry, depending on how long you've known her. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Thank you, sir, very much for your work on this. Really appreciate it. Takes us down to item number 5, which is our minutes that you've received. Anybody need to make any changes? I did not see any. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Also move.
Thank you. Second? Need a second? Who's second?
Seconded.
All right. All in favor, raise your right hand. Minutes are part of our permanent record. And I'll take us down to item number 6 on the agenda, which is an adjournment, and I will declare this meeting adjourned. Commissioners, thank you for your service tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is in the rest of the building, too.